I am Dracula.
Too. So we thought, fuck it. We continue on with a few more zombie movies because they were quite interesting. Like we were saying last week, most people think of zombie movies as flesh eating.
This isn't a fairy tale. It's still Gothic.
It's interesting, Brian, because it's. I wonder how close it is to the source material because it's a fantastic story. Like it is, I suppose you'd call it a horror movie, but it's also just so this is a quite low budget movie, and the set design is fantastic. Like if you were here last week, the setting of that movie was in Haiti. We're in the Caribbean this time. Yeah, man. Like what you done for the genre, I suppose, was monumental, but it basically just kicked dust all over what we could have got. Like the Plague of the Zombies by Hammer Films. That's another voodoo style zombie movie. That actually released, I think, about 2 or 3 years prior to Night of the Living Dead. But it just feels everything that we've got since that George A. Romero movie is basically just a bloodthirsty walking corpse. And then obviously we had The Walking Dead, and then we have zombie games, and like it's there's a lot of room there for a zombie. If any young directors out there are listening to this, like make something, and you're thinking about making a zombie movie, make something that's more rooted in like voodoo.
And maybe take inspiration from this being a partial adaptation of Jane Eyre. Like, do a voodoo horror adaptation of, another non-horror classical work.
Yeah. I could easily see a movie like this being adapted. Of course, the only thing is there's themes of slavery, racism in this movie. Of course, it's a bit of a period piece. Have to take a lot of that out for a modern release, for obvious reasons. And well, so source material is there, and it should be exploited a little bit more than what it is. But let's get into talk about the movie. It's directed by Jacques Tourneur. That's a French director. I'm not too familiar with their work. Starring, as I said earlier, we have James Ellison, we have Francis D, and Tom Conway. They're the three main cast. I'm unsure who plays Jessica in this movie.
My copy of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is actually titled Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Stories, so it might be that I'm just always remembering, the main story and not the additional stories. But yeah, Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, in their final film together, when it was just them, definitely something to check out.
Yeah, when you have a pairing like that, what can really go wrong? That'd be an interesting one to watch, especially if it was their final performance together. But I want to talk a little bit about the plot now of this film because, as I said, White Zombie last week really surprised me. Just how interesting of a movie it was, the setting, Lugosi's performance. But before we get into the plot, I'm gonna say it like right now. I think this is the superior zombie movie. I think what they do, even though technically, last week, like in that movie, we had a sugar mill full of zombies, and this one you can kind of say the zombies, so they're not really on good terms. And Paul kind of shrugs Betsy off. I think Betsy kind of by the sounds of it, she falls instantly in love with Paul. It's a quite weird triangle here because Paul obviously loves Jessica, who hasn't spoken a word to him in years. This girl is locked up, pretty much like a sick patient, I suppose. But like everyone's weary of her, and this is where we get our first scene of Jessica when Betsy hears something through the night and follows her, and Jessica is walking around the house, bright-eyed. She doesn't say a word, and that's when we see the zombie, the first appearance of the zombie in this one. And that's what I'm saying when I said it earlier about it being a lot of scenes in this that remind me of old silent movies, just the way it's shot. Brian, and for the appearance of the zombie in this one, there's no kind of heavy makeup really in this one. Brian, what did you think of the first appearance of Jessica in this movie?
Very interesting. It's very much like you're encountering someone sleepwalking in a way. Jessica is, of course, the equivalent to Bertha Mason, the violently insane first wife of Edward Rochester from Jane Eyre. So Betsy is Jane, Paul is Rochester, and funnily enough, there was actually a great adaptation of Jane Eyre in 1943 as well, the same year this film came out. So yeah, on the one hand, you had what I suppose you call the normal screen adaptation, and then you have this film.
Talk about you said her name. I forget. Well, Jessica in this movie. I want to talk about her performance. Like, I don't recognize this actress in much other stuff, but she placed the role down to a T. Did you recognize her in anything else, bro?
Christine Gordon, I
Yeah.
don't think so. She doesn't have a Wikipedia article. Let's see her checking IMDb. She's, oh my god, only 6 credits to her name, and this was her first film.
Fucking hats off! What a debut performance here. Like, that's what's interesting about watching these kind of low budget older movies.
And it gets better. The other 5, she's all uncredited.
Oh, really? So she must have been already like maybe an extra.
Yeah.
Interesting, because like these low budget movies of the time, most of the time they get no name actors like kind of jobbers, just fill-ins for the roles. Bar maybe sometimes they have like two people in the starring role, rest to be nobodies. But like you get like a lot of interesting actors and actresses at the time that just kind of get lost in history, because their careers obviously don't take off as much as others. Because there's another actor in here that we're going to be talking about very shortly called Darby Jones, who plays a Fior, I think is how you
Carrefour.
Carrefour, who plays a really interesting role. And I was looking in a little bit about him. He had a couple of other roles actually as well. And while I'm on the subject of him, because this is where I found out about this movie, I Walked with a Zombie, actually has a semi. Don't know how official the sequel is, but on Wikipedia it says it's a semi sequel to this movie, and it's called Zombie on Broadway. And as Bryan was saying earlier, before for the show, it basically sounds. I say the movie is basically what it sounds like in the title. I can't imagine what it is. I don't know if it's a musical or some sort of comedy, but it definitely feels like it's more of a light-hearted movie than what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and Val Luton didn't even return for this one, for Zombies on Broadway, so...
Yeah, so I don't know how official that movie is, I suppose. But especially because Val Luton never touched it, so it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Darby Jones was another interesting actor in this one and plays the part fucking unbelievable. This is for a 1943 movie. This is a creepy movie. There was a lot of scenes in the last week one that kind of creeped me out, but this whole movie kind of had me on edge from start to finish. For listeners that have watched it, I'm sure you know, you understand. I said earlier, this has like a dream-like kind of feel to it. This movie. So continuing on with the plot, this for a while we kind of unraveled the lore of what happened with Jessica and Paul. Yeah, so we get a scene with Betsy and Paul in the Caribbean. I think they're having a bit of lunch, and a band are playing, and just kind of there's a band playing next to them, and they're like what the guy is singing about is basically what happened between Paul and Jessica and his ex-wife, which I don't know that like. See, they're living on this island. He owns this sugar plantation. I'm sure maybe he's kind of like not a celebrity, I suppose, on the island, but a lot of people know him, I suppose. And yeah, this fella basically sings a song about what happened to them. So that's news to Betsy. Like it is fun, and then we end up getting to meet the mother of Wes and Paul. Then at the end of the night, and she basically tells Betsy that not to stay away from the two brothers, but they're. Like I think Wes Wes is the one that has the drinking problem, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're telling her about Wes's drinking problem. Could maybe you help him? Because remember, she's a nurse. She's there to look after Jessica, and he kind of does end up falling in love then with Paul straight away, which is is interesting because he did work for years to try to get his wife back. So this is where we get a doctor comes in then, and basically tells Betsy. Because Betsy's taken over of like the carer, look after Jessica, that she hasn't spoke a word in years. still alive, presumably. But yeah, pretty much it kind of unfolds for a bit about what happened between Paul and Jessica for a while, and we kind of get. Now, I'm not skipping over maybe a little bit, but like you find out point near the end that the mother put a hex on Jessica because she found out about the affair that she would have had with Wes. So that was a quite big spin on this movie. So like, and by the way, we are getting scenes in between of this voodoo tribe that's living right next to the plantation, I suppose, and the house. Throughout the movie, we're hearing the voodoo bongos and the drums and the chanting, which is fun because that's how White Zombie started out last week. So I'm glad we picked this one, Brian, because it makes so much sense. But did you like the twist where the mother actually turned Jessica into a zombie?
Yeah, it's nice that it's not one of the, well, we can't call them natives because technically their ancestors aren't from there.
Yeah,
But either way you look at it, it is the mother who's responsible for it. She's not exactly a witch doctor. She's not well, she is viewed as a home gun, and she does appear at the home fort. Home four. My French is not terrific. I don't even know, but yeah, basically all she wants to do is have the drinking water be boiled for the people to take their medicine. But then again, she went and did that to her daughter-in-law.
yeah, which is quite dark. So like, Jessica is kind of treated as the. You watch the end of this film, like Jessica is treated kind of as not the villain, but like as the bad guy in this movie. Which like, but for the mother to do that though, is quite extreme, and so it was such a nice twist, like to see her having connections with that. See, like I don't even know if you'd call them a tribe, but we are native people, as you said, Brian. But like they are the descendants of the natives of the slaves that the family would have brought over years prior to this movie.
Yeah, slavery. I mean, I'm not getting into the whole politics of the thing, but of course, with warfare in Africa, slavery was existing well before Europeans ever existed. And let's see here. I think there's three kinds of voodoo. There is, of course, the Haitian voodoo, but there's also a African voodoo, which I suppose is the you know ancestor, or if you want, well, it's not. I think it's still existent, but it's probably the one that the other types of voodoo.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's probably more than three are descended from.
Because from what I get from this movie, I think the voodoo in this is, I think these are African ascendants. I'm not sure. I don't think these are the same sort of voodoo people that are in the White Zombie movie. I could be wrong. I could be wrong here.
Well, let's see here. How did Christopher Lee put it in the 100 Years of Horror episode? I think he described it as an amalgamation of traditional African religion, Christianity, and elemental psychology. So,
A little bit of a mixture.
Yeah, there would be the original voodoo in Africa, and then there would be the combination from what was brought over, the combination created by those brought over.
Interesting. That's what a lot of people might be taken back by this movie. Like as I said earlier, there is themes of fucking slavery, racism in this movie. So like,
yeah, but the fact is, slavery was basically practiced everywhere in the world at some point.
yeah, that's very true, man. Every single corner of the planet definitely had slavery going on.
I feel like if this was to be remade and they cut out the slavery angle, that's pretty much just whitewashing history.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I think more than likely they would cut it out because I feel like if a production company like Blumhouse ever got their hands on something like this, they would whitewash it. But like, it'd be interesting to see a proper remake done of this and keeping every single thing that makes this movie what it is, because that's what gets me about this movie. It's tonally darker, way darker than White Zombie, which in itself is quite a dark movie because it's a pretty
Yeah.
cold movie.
What's interesting is that the Curse of the Cat People it's lighter than the first one. You could call it a bit more of a family film, but compared to the counterparts at Universal, which were like comic book films, I suppose you could say, not that they were not that they were based on comic books, but they felt like comic books. But this was certainly more. These were more for an adult audience. If you were expecting to see rare actual half human, half cat creatures and cat people, they're going to be disappointed because it's actually ambiguous as to if they actually do exist. It's just like here, it's ambiguous if the voodoo actually is legitimate, but obviously we see here that there's clearly something going on.
They're movies that I've never actually watched. Have you seen them, Brian? The Cat People.
Oh yeah, as I said, I do own Turner Classic Movies Val Luton DVD collection. It includes
Oh, okay.
Cat People, Curse of the Cat People, I Walked with a Zombie, and The Body Snatcher. It's Cat People is a fantastic film.
I must check them out. But I'm at there. I'm just have to realize and need to talk about what we skipped. I did skip over quite a little bit big part about the plot here of this movie. Betsy is obviously getting friendlier. With the housemaid, the staff of the plantation or the house where Paul and Wes live, and she wants to help out Jessica for Paul. So as I said, she falls in love with Paul, but she actually loves him that much. She wants to help get Jessica back, and when she obviously finds out that medicine's not helping, that she could be a zombie, she gets in touch with I'm just gonna call them a tribe, the voodoo tribe that's like literally living next door across the cornfield to the plantation. So we do get a nice scene. This is what I said in the main chat on Discord. Like, if it was my one gripe, I wanted a few more scenes with Jessica and Betsy going around together. I thought the movie was the way they shoot the two girls walking around together, fantastic. I absolutely love it. So they walk through a cornfield, and one of the workers tell them how to get there. Like, you take a turn here, you meet this guy, and then I think they give her, not badges, but like it's like a piece of material they give Jessica and Betsy. So I don't know if they called him a witch doctor or a voodoo doctor or something like that in this movie, but they basically said, like, if you was it a witch doctor?
The term is Hoon Gun.
That's the Darby Jones role.
A Hoon Gun is a voodoo priest.
Voodoo priest.
Carrefour is a zombie. Yeah, the Darby Jones character Carrefour is a zombie.
And yes, I'm actually gonna. If I don't do it, I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna put a picture of his this character right now. Scared the absolute fuck out of me. He's completely mute, but I think that was a signal for the two girls to know to go into the tribe's I suppose homes. And yeah, so he basically tell Jessica that she's a zombie. There's nothing that can be done. She's dead, and that's when we're coming back up to pace now. That's when we see the reveal of Paul and Wes's mother was actually working with the tribe the whole time.
Yeah, it turns out. Yeah, it turns out that Mrs. Rand is the Hoongan, and she's the one the people are going to see at the Hoom Fort. The Hoom Fort, I'm not exactly sure on the pronunciation, but yeah, that is basically that. A Hoom Fort is a voodoo temple, so it's just a religious gathering, basically.
And again, the way they shoot the tribe and it's fantastic. This movie's fucking great. But I apologize to the listeners that I did skip out on that kind of a bit of a major point that leads up to the end of the film and the twist. So yeah, and it's I'm surprised I forgot it because it's one of my favorite scenes of this movie. The director, what's his name, Jacquees Tonnier, done a great job here. As I said, my one little gripe about this movie, if I have it, because I'm rating this really, really high. This could be up there, one of my favorite zombie movies ever. The way they shoot it's fantastic, Brian, isn't it? This movie.
Yeah, it's now you can't say, "Oh, Brian, you've only seen 3," because literally I have only seen 3. I've seen White Zombie, I've seen this film, and I saw the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Have you never seen Night of the Living Dead?
Not in its entirety, so I'm not exactly counting it because I've not seen the entire thing. But I Walked with a Zombie is my favorite zombie film.
Yeah. Well, I've seen quite a good few. I'd have to have a bit of a think now where I would rank this one. But just as me and Brian were talking about earlier, we need more zombie movies like this. In real life, I told about 5 people about this movie, ran through the plot, and every single one of them said, that sounds amazing. Like, if you even explain the plot to somebody, you can't not like this movie. The only thing that might take it back could be some of the themes in this one that might make it a little bit outdated to go back and watch. But as you said, Brian, it is part of history. It did happen, and this movie just documents it in a way. And I'm one for history. If it's bad history or good history, it's nice to go back and see how backwards things was back then. So
I'm willing to accept the slavery analysis for this film more than I am for the original King Kong, because good lord, that's really, really off base.
yeah, that's another thing that
we're talking about a man who is just fascinated with gorillas, and I don't like. But we're getting into a completely different subject. But you can't legitimately say Kong is supposed to represent a black man when the native tribe is depicted as black, and to accuse someone of being racist and then claim the giant ape man is a representation of a black man is hypocrisy at its finest.
Yeah, it's fucking backwards as fuck, man. And for a lot of people that can take away from the movie as well. That's why,
it's funny that I actually turned to Kong as an example, because that too is an RKO film.
Yeah, and I could be wrong here. I think RKO done the Dr. and Jekyll, Mr. Hyde movie with Frederick Marsh. I could be wrong though. That I could be getting.
I think that would have been Paramount, but the fact is, what got me into classic horror was actually the original King Kong and RKO film. So
yeah,
here we are.
Yeah,
talking about I Walked with a Zombie.
And that King Kong was one of the more foreigner movies from the 30s. 100%. It's a great starting point for any classic horror fan. I know we're going off a little bit, but the 1930s is probably my favorite period for horror movies. Like, it's the birth of the genre. You had them, you had them pre-code movies, which some of them pre-code movies were quite daring in their ways, and then obviously we had the first line of the Universal monster movies as well. So great.
RKO just did a lot of great stuff. They did King Kong, they did Son of Kong, they did the 1939 Hunchback of Notre Dame film. I think they did both versions of Mighty Joe Young, even though Disney obviously did the they did the original version, and they also were one of the 3 production companies for the 1998 remake. So
interesting.
Be it horror or adventure, RKO, we tip our hats to you.
Yeah, because speaking of RKO, like, they're obviously still around. They were regarded as one of the big five film studios in the golden age of Hollywood. But are they still prevalent, Brian, in with today's standards? I'd never heard
I
about a modern RKO movie.
I checked Wikipedia. It says RKO Pictures, commonly known as simply RKO, is an American film, television, and stage production company. Not was, is. It's apparently still around. Oh my god, defunct 1958. What? Okay, hold on. Founded January 25th, 1939. Defunct 1958. And then founded again in 1978. So,
And still going from 1970s.
yeah, it
But
still exists.
because that's like I was literally gonna say I'm not sure if I ever seen a movie that said RKO at the start with color.
Uh,
Like
we
most black and white.
they need a comeback. Seeing when I some time ago I watched the remake of Mighty Joe Young, and seeing that radio tower in color was just so beautiful. We need to see that. They need to make a comeback. We need to see that at the beginning of a movie again.
Yeah, for sure, man. And why not? And why not remake this one? Like I don't know what the rights of this movie. I'm pretty sure it's not public domain because I'd usually be able to find it on YouTube. That link you sent into the Discord, Brian, that was from Archive.
Yeah,
From Archive. So
the Internet Archive.
if the listeners want to check it out, you can watch it. I'll drop a link in the description. Keep forgetting to do that. And most of the movies that we've been reviewing lately on the show have been watchable on Archive, or maybe like the Hammer Mummy movie. But to wrap up the plot, though, the people, the Troy's people, then are like they make a voodoo doll at Jessica. They're controlling her, and they're trying to basically bring her back to the tribe. They want her back in the tribe, and this is where Wes now kind of takes more center stage instead of Paul, because I did forget to mention he also loves Jessica, and I think if they were still alive, I think them two would have been together. It's like Paul is a weird character in this movie. You're not sure how sympathetic he is to what's happening with Jessica. I'm not sure if Jessica came back alive today, would Paul be interested in a marriage again with her? So it's interesting. Like Wes kind of takes center stage here, and
Well, as I said, this is based on Jane Eyre. So, Paul is Rochester, Betsy is Jane, and that leaves Jessica as Bertha, the first wife of Rochester. And Jane Eyre, Rochester and Jane go on to marry. So,
yeah, that's in the book.
yeah, and Jane Eyre.
Yeah, it does take a lot from it. We do near the end of the film. We do kind of get Wes goes to the tribe to try save obviously Jessica, and we get a bit of a chase scene with Kafur. How would you say his fucking name, bro?
Carrefour.
Carrefour. Yes, Carrefour. That makes sense. Yeah, to get a bit of a chase off Carrefour. Quite haunting scene. I'll be honest with you, it's quite spooky. To go into the sea. Wes actually carries her body into the sea, and don't know if it's a double suicide and a homicide, or did he die like mistakenly? But yeah, Betsy and Paul console each other at the end of the movie. Jessica and Wes are found in the ocean. They're quite a bleak ending and quite a dark ending to a quite dark fucking movie. I don't know what to make of the ending.
I personally think they wanted to take Jessica back to the home fort because there might have been something that a Hoon gun could have done about it, about her zombified state.
Yeah,
or keep her safe keep her out of trouble, that sort of thing. And Res just went completely off the end there.
That would make a lot of sense because you could tell the Troy wanted her for some sort of reason. Interesting. So Cara Fior, you'd call him a zombie then, Brian, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
So we basically
and
do get two zombies in this movie.
yeah, I mean, obviously there's Jessica, but Carrefour is just very iconic. There's even a clip of him when Betsy and Jessica first run into him. That's actually used in the opening. Well, not really the opening. That's a completely different film. But after it cuts to Christopher Lee in 100 Years of Horror episode about zombies, he begins to talk about it. He talks about the Magic Island, and then we get his voiceover, and it talking about what a zombie is, and it shows Carrefour.
It is quite iconic. Like I wouldn't really regard this movie as iconic, but Cara Fior, that first scene, as you were saying, Brian, yeah, that is quite iconic. I haven't seen that what you were talking about, but I've seen that face in other horror videos on YouTube, and yeah, it's quite iconic. Now I assume the eyes are prosthetic, because I was trying to find pictures of the actor, and I couldn't find any. I might have to watch
Yeah,
another movie.
maybe I don't know. I haven't seen many of Darby Jones's films,
If it's not
but
prosthetic, that is creepy as
I mean, I have seen Tarzan's New York Adventure, but he's in an uncredited role there, so I'm presuming they were just prosthetics.
And for a 1943 movie, I like that. This is what I like about voodoo zombies. They don't over design the actual zombie. Like what we get now is holes in the zombies. Like some of them have one leg, one arm. These zombies are basically more hypnotized people. Like even last week in White Zombie, all he had was a bit of voice shadow around the eyes, and he kind of looked maybe had a bit of powder, like white powder on their face. It didn't look too overly designed. And it works in this movie as well because Jessica is pretty much just looks like a normal person, just with bright eyes. And it does take me off guard then when I see the Darby Jones character with the eyes. He looks like he's been a zombie his whole life, and it's a quite creepy scene. Like I can't believe I actually skipped over that whole corn maze scene earlier on because it's one of the best scenes in the film, and I think Jessica and Betsy together, them two actresses are great. I'm gonna look into them two. It'll be interesting to see if they're in much other stuff. But yeah, that's basically the plot of this one. Quite a dark movie. Universal movies of the 40s. Like we all know they got a lot more like lighthearted in the 40s. But it got a bit more monster mashy, if you will. A lot of the sequels to them classic Universal lines from the 30s got a lot sillier. Not I wouldn't say sillier, but I don't know. Like the dark kind of vibe was kind of gone off them, and maybe that was just due to technology or the lower budgets at the time. But this movie here sticks out like a sore thumb to me amongst a lot of the other 40s movies. It's subject matter is fucking dark. Themes are dark. Like, to end the movie the way it did, like that, is quite dark also as well. Now, that's what I'm saying. Like, it reminds me like of how dark that ending was in White Zombie from last week. Like, you don't very very interesting to see a movie from the 40s play out like that, Brian. You know. Now, I haven't seen the Body Snatchers. I don't know if Val Lewton's movies, the other ones that you've done for RKO, is as dark as this one. It'd be interesting to see. I do want to dig into a few more of them, Brian. You seen the Body Snatchers?
Oh yeah, I've seen the Body Snatcher. Just to remind you, it is a part of the DVD collection I have, the Val Lewton DVD collection.
You've seen all them, Brian, have you? You've watched?
Yeah, so Cat People, Curse of the Cat People, I Walked with a Zombie, The Body Snatcher, they're fantastic films.
Oh, so you've seen I Walked with a Zombie before, Brian? Or I thought this was your first time watching.
I've had the DVD. I've had that DVD collection a number of years. I think I might have actually. I got it when a store in Stratford, Ontario was going out of business, having an out of business sale.
Sweet, like I thought we were going in completely blind to this movie. I was unaware that you were familiar with this one, Brian. Oh, good, funny. Um, yeah, like I always, I've even over the years listened to podcasts about this movie, but I never went ahead and watched it. And I'm so glad we got to review it today, Brian, because what an exciting movie. It's if anyone's looking to buy a DVD or a Blu-ray release of this one, Brian, you should even check out your box set that you bought. But I'm looking into buying
Yeah,
this one
well,
on Blu-ray.
it's technically not a box set because, well, there are two DVDs, and there's so Cat People and Curse of the Cat People are on the one DVD, and I Wrote with the Zombie and the Body Snatcher are on the other, because they're both, as long as they are, you can fit two movies on the
Mhm.
same disc instead of, like putting one on one side and then flipping it over.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Not necessarily a box set, just a double disc DVD release. Yeah, because this movie's only an hour and 8 minutes long, and it breezes by. The pacing is quite well in this movie. I will say that one. But if anyone,
Yeah,
I'll go ahead, man.
I feel like with the rise of the Romero style zombies, the old voodoo style is, films like this are becoming unsung classics. They need to be sung again.
Yeah, and that's what we do over here, bro. And you know it, man. Like we try to dig up these forgotten movies. Maybe not forgotten, but not talked about enough movies, and that's what I enjoy doing most. Like we could be here reviewing modern movies, happening with with a modern audience here, but like these old movies are way too interesting not to be talking about, and yeah, they just don't get talked about enough. But a little tip though for people that are wanting to buy this movie physically, it's quite expensive. There's only for my region. There's actually only one release, and that's on a double disc with another movie called The Seventh Victim, which I think it's another Val Lewton movie which came out. Don't know if it's in the 40s. I'm unfamiliar with that movie as well. I'm not sure if no idea what the movie is about, but it's on a double disc with this one, and
Yeah, it is another Val Lewton horror film, and it did also come out in 1943. It's about a young woman.
you hear me, Brian? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But did you lose connection there as well, or was that just me?
I don't know, but Discord was fucking up earlier today, so
Yeah. Well, just you were talking about the seventh victim,
this,
Brian. So go from there.
yeah, so The Seventh Victim, it's another Val Lewton horror film. It follows a young woman who finds an underground cult of devil worshippers in New York while searching for her sister, and I believe it's actually a prequel to Cat People.
What?
Yes, prequels. Hardly anything new.
And have you haven't seen this one, Brian?
No, I have not.
That's so that double disc set is the only one that's actually available in my region. But I was checking some of the US releases. Some of these DVDs are going over like for $100, $120. So it's a must be a quite hard movie to obtain, and I'm pretty sure it's not on any streaming services either. And you can't watch it on YouTube, not on Archive. So oh no, sorry, no, it is on Archive. Forgive me. You can watch that online if you want, but I really want to own this physically. It's that good of a movie, so I might look into that double disc set. It's a Blu-ray release, and obviously, going there said it's another value movie that sounds quite interesting, especially if
Oh,
it's a prequel. Especially if it's a prequel to that one.
no, not again. Oh, wait, I can hear something. Hello?
Somebody, somebody joined there. Yeah, you can still hear.
No, things just went quiet.
Yeah, I hear. Like
Yeah,
I heard somebody drop out there.
yeah, that was weird. I'm actually checking Amazon.ca, and yeah, am seeing some copies of The Seventh Victim as a double feature with I Wrought with a Zombie, but I'm also seeing one for $31.
Yeah,
That
that's the
that's
Criterion one.
no, it's also a double feature, but with a Val Lewton documentary, Shadows in the Dark.
That's an interesting one. Is Canada the same region as the US? For
Region 1, yeah, it's Region 1.
yeah, like I should just stop beating around the bush and get myself region free Blu-ray player. Stop fucking around because the amount of DVDs and Blu-ray movies I'm missing out on. God forbid you're a Godzilla fan where I live because most of the movies aren't available, and there's not actually many of them available even on Region One, but there's literally zero of them except for the Criteria. I think it's Criteria that goofy looking box set that they released that has like the four series of the Godzilla movies from the 50s to the late 60s. I think it is. I think it's about like 10 or 11 movies, and that's it's like 150 euro. That's the only way I can kind of get my hands on Godzilla movies over here. Quite annoying.
Oh dear. Oh dear, did I make a mistake then by adding so many Godzilla movies to the dinosaurs subject?
No. I'll persevere, Brian, and we'll find a way to watch these movies, man. I'm sure I'll be able to grab them up online. The only thing that
Yeah,
I'll say about the Godzilla movies, I need to be savvy with the editing. Hopefully by then, I'm hoping to get the video podcast going by either next episode or the one after. Maybe depends on when the PC gets here. But
uh,
when we done that King Kong versus Godzilla movie straight away, it got restricted, and it's like pretty much like pretty much most countries can't view that podcast now, which is quite annoying. And it's like that's the
yeah,
one me and you done.
just go with pictures then, no
Yeah,
video.
yeah. That's the one that me, Bryan, and Titan done. That was actually a great episode. That was great fun talking about that movie. Which is funny
Yeah,
though because Bryan, like they never tried to take down the King Kong escapes video. That didn't get copyrighted or anything like that. But straight away that King Kong versus Godzilla movie got fucked.
I mean, King Kong versus Godzilla, it's already my least favorite for being made with a stolen idea, but geez, that's just
Yeah. Well,
weird.
it's going to be fun digging into them Godzilla movies because I know a lot of people in the Discord are fans of the Godzilla.
Yeah,
Th-
I think dinosaurs might be the subject with the most amount of films. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 movies under the dinosaurs subject.
oh, that's like
And keep in
Brian.
mind that's not just Godzilla films. That's Lost World
Mhm.
adaptations. That's Peter Jackson's King Kong. That's Son of Kong. That's the Jurassic Park films. Like, dear God, there's enough dinosaurs movies there to watch until the cows come home. And I can't
Yeah.
believe I just used that euphemism.
That's it, like there's enough there to tap into about the dinosaur movies enough to make a completely new show. I'm really excited. Like Brian made a Google Doc spreadsheet of tons of movies that we can review on here. Yeah, I might even share it.
And
Go ahead, man.
yeah, it's all sorted by subject. I was inspired by 100 Years of Horror, a fantastic documentary series hosted by Christopher Lee from the 90s. If you have never seen that series, I cannot recommend it enough. It's just fantastic, and Christopher Lee, we love you, man.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Wherever you are,
Just
we pay the highest homage we can.
a high praises, man. Like Christopher Lee had class to him. These actors these days don't hold a candle to what like the likes of Christopher Lee was, Peter Cushing was, like he, them two specifically would be on my Mount Rushmore of actors. Doesn't matter what they're in.
Charlton Heston once said something along the lines of that Shakespeare is the great test every actor must take. And Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, they took that test.
Yes.
And we still have Shakespearean actors even today, but I feel like we need more who have taken the test.
Yeah. A lot of actors these days, I don't know. They don't do much for me, man. Like I think actors back then actually took pride and they had a bit of class to them. They were making the movies. We live in a completely different world, I suppose. But them two would definitely be on my Mount Rushmore. I could talk about them two all day. Christopher Lee had an interesting background before he got into doing movies. Just what a character. I don't want to like push shame on like modern actors, but I don't think people are going to be talking about Timothy Chalamet in 50 years' time. The way people are.
Well, not unless he changes his act or something.
Yeah, you could have that special role in a fucking classic modern movie, and we could be talking about him for years. Just I don't know. Just think they're on a different pedigree.
Yeah. It's funny enough that I bring this up because one of the films I have placed under the Bela Lugosi subject is The Deer Slayer from 1920, back when he was living in Europe. And he plays Chingachgook, the man who will become the titular Last of the Mohicans.
1920?
So, yeah. So, before Dracula, before he emigrated to America, it's probably the earliest surviving film of his career. And he's playing an American Indian in the 18th century.
Jesus. I might actually stick that on after this. Like, that sounds interesting. I'd love to see what Bela Lugosi was like before his Dracula role. Yeah,
so we never know what an actor's career is going to be like. For all we know, Dune might be Timothy, whatever his surname, that might be his Deer Slayer, and who knows, his Dracula might be somewhere down the line.
Yeah, well, I think these studios need to like calm down on classic remakes for a hot minute.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Things are weird. I mean, Jodorowsky's Dune, if it had been made, I'm sure it would have been something like, dear God, the crazy bastard wanted to make a 12-hour movie. But yeah, the most faithful adaptation I've ever seen of Dune is Frank Herbert's Dune, which was actually a 3-part TV miniseries. Sometimes a TV adaptation is just gonna do better than a feature film adaptation.
Yeah. Are you a Harry Potter fan?
Yes and no. Not so much because of J.K. I've seen the movies. Not interested in the new series, mainly because of Rowling and we'll call it her descent into insanity.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
That's definitely a subject. Then I'm the same as you, Brian. Like, I would be. I'm a big fan of the movie, so.
Yeah, I am a big believer in ability over appearance, though I won't say that. I mean, if an actor gives a good audition, who cares what their skin is like? I mean,
yeah, that's very true.
Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption, his character in the original novella by Stephen King, literally Irish American. Why do you think he was called Red? Yeah, and that is, of course, referenced in the film itself. he says to the question of why he's called Red, he says maybe it's because I'm Irish or something to that effect.
I didn't
And
know that it was a completely different character of the source material.
yeah, and then you have Nigel Green and Jason and the Argonauts. Nigel Green played Hercules, and he was completely different from the Italian muscle man stereotype.
He was great in that movie. I actually only watched that one there about a week or two ago. That's another one that
Yeah, Nigel Green, one of my favorite actors to ever play Hercules.
I didn't recognize him much, but he was hands down my favorite character in that one. I grew up watching them, Jason and the Argonauts, Sinbad, and Clash of the Titans, but I recently just went back through them, and yeah, they're amazing fucking films. Jason and the Argonauts was 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah,
I love them films. But Bryan,
yeah.
what would you rate I Walked with a Zombie
Oh,
out of 5?
I think I'd go beyond and give it a 20.
Yeah,
It's just my favorite zombie film. It's the only screen adaptation of Jane Eyre I've ever seen. It's just a really good film.
like this is contender of one of my favorites for the 1940s. Now I know we had the heavy hitters like the likes of the Wolfman. That'd been a lot of people's top 3. Great movie. I don't know. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. This is a near flawless movie to me. I had creepy. It was genuinely creepy. It did actually kind of take me off guard in a lot of scenes, especially when we see the Darby character in this one, the Carrefour, yes, Brian. Genuinely a scary zombie movie. It took the voodoo source material and sets it in the Caribbean. I thought the actors all done a fucking great job. Really, really enjoyed the performance of Jessica, even though she doesn't have any lines in this one, but just the on-screen presence of her was very believable and effective, in my opinion. Betsy, the main girl in this one, she was excellent as well. She kind of carries the movie on her back a lot of the time. She was very entertaining in this one. Not much I can pick apart except for wanting a little bit more of Jessica and Betsy together. I thought like that was the movie at its best.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
the tribe aspect to it. The music in the background was very fitting for the movie. The setting of the movie itself, for a low budget movie, apparently a shoestring budget. I can't believe how good this movie is, bro.
Yeah, I know Universal gets a lot of, coverage, but these movies by Val Lewton, they're really good. Lee's deserve comic book miniseries. Lee's deserve figures.
Yeah,
Like collectible and toys. I don't necessarily know if I want to see them remade. I know Cat People was remade in the 80s, but I've not seen that, and I'm not sure I want to see the others remade.
yeah.
But these still need more spotlight.
I would agree with you there. I think the last thing I want for a movie like this, and even like the likes of White Zombie, is for it to be remade. Now, some of these old movies scream to be remade, but these like fucking little gems like this one, I think deserve to be just left alone and enjoy it for what it is, because I just don't think any Hollywood studio could do a movie like this justice in the modern age. This is definitely a piece of history, period piece. Just I think we should leave it alone. I genuinely think we should leave all classic IPs alone, because I don't really think a lot of people know what to do with it. There has been some decent ones throughout the years, don't get me wrong, and some of them do need to be remade, but I don't know. I like fresh ideas.
One of my concerns about remakes is I have a love-hate relationship with the Peter Jackson King Kong. I mean, the villainizing of Carl Denham, literally Marion C. Cooper's Avatar, I'm always going to take issue with. Like, reinterpret him more to make him more sympathetic for each generation, but keep
Yeah.
Kong as a tragic monster, but keep in mind, like, Kong's tragedy was also partially one of his own making. But let's also look how much longer Peter Jackson's Kong is compared to the original. I genuinely fear that a remake of I Walked with a Zombie would be just so much longer than the original.
Yeah. And just think about the stuff that they'd have to leave out of the movie as well, bro. And it'd be interesting to see what a modern remake would be like, but I don't know. I just can't see it working. Like you
Uh,
right, man?
Maybe take a bit more from Jane Eyre. I'd have to reread the book, but maybe lean more into the Jane Eyre with voodoo aspect of it.
Yeah,
Like, show Betsy and Paul afterward, because Jane and Edward Rochester, they do have they they marry, they have a child. It's we get more of an ending. So yeah, we just if
sounds like
it
we
were
could
to
have
be
got a sequel.
remade, yeah, I would want. Yeah, I just want to see the happy ending that Betsy and Paul deserve.
Now, for all we know, Brian, Zombies on Broadway could continue the story, and who knows? I didn't read what that movie's actually about now, but
I mean, I find the concept of zombie comedy a bit odd, but um, I've always personally had a bit of a love-hate relationship with comedy.
yeah, not a fan really, Brian. That like there is some obviously big classic ones. I'd probably name maybe 10 comedy movies that I like, but yeah, I don't sit there and waste my time watching funny movies. To be honest.
Yeah, Shakespearean comedies I can handle very well because they've got comedy and they've got drama. There's a good mix.
Yeah, they'd be more substance to them, I suppose, as well. A lot of comedy movies these days are they wouldn't be for me. But so Brian, what's next on the agenda then? Should we do the Body Snatchers?
Well, the Body Snatchers was under the subject of Bela Lugosi. Do we want to do the Body Snatchers first, or do we want to do do we want to do the Body Snatcher first, or do we want to do the Deer Slayer first and see Bela Lugosi before he was a big name?
And
Or
this is a feature length movie, Brian. What's it called? One more time.
the Deer Slayer. It's a adaptation of one of the leather stalking novels, which includes The Last of the Mohicans. It was made in 1920 in Germany, and yeah, it's on the Internet Archive. It's actually only 43 minutes long, and I think it was actually I think there's actually supposed to be a two-parter. I think it was actually a two-parter, but with the second part adapting The Last of the Mohicans, but unfortunately that film is lost.
It's the name of the movie. It's saying here on Wikipedia, Brian. It's the Deer Slayer and something else. I'm gonna pronounce that word. I don't know how to say that.
Is it in German
No,
or something?
I look
The
like
Deer Slayer and Chingachgook. Chingachgook is the man who becomes the titular Last of the Mohicans,
Okay, right.
and he's Bela Lugosi's character.
Interesting.
So Bela Lugosi is playing a American Indian / Native American, however you want to describe it.
That sounds fucking interesting, man. Him playing a role like that.
Now, keep in mind there is a part where our protagonist, Deer Slayer, Hawkeye, whatever you want to call him, refuses to marry a Iroquois woman because he's white and she's not. But James Fenimore Cooper actually did write him that way. He was a good man, but he was flawed. He was against mixing of blood, but as he was Delaware by adoption, the Iroquois are also his enemy, the enemies of his adoptive people.
That's kind of quite
And
interesting. This is the first time I've heard about this movie.
and in the actual book, The Last of the Mohicans, Chingachgook brings up the fact that there's no pure-blooded Mohican women for his son Uncas to marry. So with Chingachgook being, Deer Slayer's basically his foster brother, I can't help but imagine some of it may have come from, who he grew up with.
Hmm.
Being against people of different ethnicities marrying not great, but you also have to remember he is a man living in the 18th century.
Oh,
He's a good man, but a flawed man.
yeah, and that point, yeah, that was the view of the time. That could be a quite the interesting movie to review. I say there's a lot to unfold there.
But in The Last of the Mohicans, he doesn't refuse to go off and rescue Cora Monroe, who is of mixed heritage. He still goes off to rescue her because that's what heroes do.
I think that this could make for a good episode. Yeah, I'd be down with that.
As I said, it's an adaptation of one of the Leather-Stalking Tales, specifically the last one to be written, but chronologically the first.
Sounds like there's a lot to unpack there, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I say it's actually on YouTube. But yeah, you're right. It's about 43 minutes long, so not a long movie at all. And I don't think we've ever reviewed silent movie on the show either. So that'd be a first.
Yeah, and keep in mind it's not horror, but on the subject of Bela Lugosi, we should of course look at some of his non-horror roles.
Of course, like Bela Lugosi being in it is enough for us to review it. It doesn't necessarily have to be very horror, but it does fall in the umbrella.
And it's also his earliest surviving. It's the earliest surviving piece of his career.
Yeah, he must have been quite young in the role, because this 38. Was probably before, he was 28.
38.
He was 38 in 1920.
Yeah, and 49 in 1931 when he played Dracula for the first time on screen.
What? I never knew it was that old playing Dracula. Fuck, he looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit. Bela Lugosi looked fucking good. Yeah, so we might have to dig into that one next week, man. But yeah, so Bryan's after giving it basically a 5 out of 5. This movie that we talked about today, I Walked with a Zombie, I give it a 5 out of 5. I recommend anyone that's not familiar to go check it out. I'm gonna try remember to leave a link for people to watch the movie in the description of this show, so make sure you go and check that out. Bryan, tell the listeners where we can find your stuff.
You can find me on YouTube. I game. I do readings. I'm currently reacting to the fantastic animated series Monster Force, and I'll be streaming Golden Sun: The Lost Age tomorrow at 11 a.m. EST.
So guys, make sure you go check that out. And Bryan, drop the link when you're going when you're streaming, man. Drop that link in the Discord as well. I want to be checking out them streams. But yeah, that the Monster series that you've been
Monster Force
series.
That's also sort of an unsung gem. It's just
yeah.
I swear I liked the episode I watched yesterday more than I did any of the Brendan Fraser Mummy films.
Like, I well believe it, man. The show is fucking fantastic. I think I've watched 3 now of your coverage so far, and I don't know, man. I think that we could review that on a podcast, the whole series.
Yeah, funnily enough, I do have some TV movies on the Google Doc. Well, technically, some are miniseries, some are TV movies, but still, if they fit the subject, like, for instance, under Dinosaurs, I have the 2001 2-part TV miniseries adaptation of Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World, with the effects done by the same company that did the effects for the Walking with Dinosaurs franchise. So
Yeah.
yeah, if we ever want to do something TV based, because even 100 Years of Horror occasionally showed something from TV. It
Yeah,
wasn't all
yeah.
movies.
Yeah, very true, man. There's a lot of untapped potential there for TV and movie staff.
The idea is to take inspiration from what came before us.
Yeah, exactly, Brian. That's a great list there. I'm gonna I almost feel like I should share with the viewers as well to check it out, see if they want to pick any movies to recommend as well. But I'm gonna leave it here. I'll go ahead.
Now I removed I Walked with a Zombie from the list because we've done it. But if you ever want to do anything that we might do in the future, check it out. I highly recommend it. And under Dracula and his disciples, I put Dracula: Pages from a Virgin's Diary. It's a Canadian film. It's a silent ballet adaptation of Dracula. It's a very fantastic film. I highly recommend it. It was made in 2002, so
yeah,
really,
I think you've shared that one with me before. Looks very interesting.
Yeah, we may be talking about a lot of unsung gems in the future.
Yeah, the way we're going, man. I've been loving these picks lately. I'm dying to get the video podcast up and running, so we can kind of move into the new age of the show. But yeah, hopefully by the next episode I should have things going. But I'll leave it here for today, guys. If you made it this far, make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. You're over on YouTube, and then if you're on Spotify and you're on the go, make sure you leave a rating over there first. And yeah, thanks for Bryan for jumping on today. We'll be back next week, and yeah, see you on the next one.
Bye.
I am Dracula.